evening and welcome to Become a Better Man. My name is Tunde Disu. Thank you for being part of today's program. There is no doubt that we're living in a season and in a time that is unprecedented, that is different, that most of us are not used to. We are living in a time when there is pandemic, when there is protest on the street, when leaders are grappling with what to do, when people are stuck in the house, and some people have lost their jobs, many businesses have closed. So there's so many going on at this very hour in the world and in our lives, collectively and individually. And so in times like this, people start looking for leaders. They look for somebody to direct, to lead, to guide, somebody to give them purpose, to give them hope, to help them navigate these uncharted waters that we are all swimming through. And so the question then is, what type of leaders are we looking for? What type of leaders do we need in a time like this? And while you can look at it from different angles and examine it from different quarters, the qualities, the type, the nature, the temperature, and all of that, of the type of leader that we need. One of the things that over the years and statistics have shown, research has confirmed, and when you look at your life and my life, you can see that this is something that, even though we may not verbally say it, but we are all looking for a leader who can be touched by what we're feeling, who can feel what we're going through, who can reason with us, a leader who can empathize with the challenges that we're facing, who is fully aware of the challenges and the oppositions and the intricacies of where we are per time, because such leaders are also going through that same motion and that same feelings and that same emotions and uncertainties and anxieties and worries that all of us are going through. So on today's program, we are going to be looking at the type of leaders that we need now, the type of leaders that we need at this time, at this exact season, as the world is going through this multi-headed challenges. What are the type of leaders that we're looking for? What is one of those? And today we're going to look at one of the characteristics of such leader who can help us through. We know we're in a season, in a period where we've been advised, we've been encouraged, we've been told to maintain our social distances one from another because of the pandemic. But you see, what they said we should do is social distance. But what we all must do, especially for those who are in positions of authority, of leadership, of guiding others, what we must all do in that respect is, yes, maintain your social distance, but do not include your emotional distance. Yes, maintain your social 2 meters distance, but don't let your emotions be distant from the people that are in your world, that are in your contact, that you are leading, that are looking up to you. Keep emotional contact with people. See, in this season, going through these issues, some of the issues or most of the issues that the world is dealing with today, everybody is looking for, and everybody in fact deserves an empathetic leader, a friend, a spouse, a family member who can see you and not judge you, who can feel what you are feeling, who can understand what you are going through. And so making the right connection and making the right decision, it's important. it is hard making some of those decisions when things are good, when everything is fine. But then when you are now in a situation like we're all in now, where things are really tough, when the challenges of life is really banging on your door, when the rate of anxiety, the rate of mental challenge and pressure is so high that people don't know whether they are coming or going. People are not sure whether the job they had last in January will still be there whenever the doors are flung open. The financial pressure that's on everybody, not knowing where your next salary is coming from, not knowing when your next meal is coming from, not knowing when the next bill is going to land on your table. These are some of the practical, tangible issues that people are dealing with. And therefore, every one of us are looking for somebody who can see you for who you are, who can see you for where you are, who can relate to you at where you are and still not be judgmental or not condemn you or not look down at you or talk down at you, but somebody who can be touched by the feelings of the pressure that you are going through. Because the playing field as we knew it, the playing field, the environment, the work environment, the office, the business atmosphere, everything has changed. And most of them will never come back to the way they used to be. It can't. They cannot come back to the way they used to be. Many businesses have closed. Many people are on furlough or just been laid off completely. Millions have lost their jobs. And so, unless as a leader you adopt empathetic and real relationship based on sound principles that makes the people that you are leading, people in your life, people within your contact, to put their minds at rest that everything else may fail, but they know where they are with you. They know where they are with you. But more than that, they know where you are with them. And unless you have this emotional intelligence to reach out, to touch, to share, to feel, to relate, to connect with these people, you are just on a sinking ship filled with crew members that are suffering from analysis paralysis as they go down into the bottom of the sea. We are all, without exemption, from the top to the bottom, from the highest to the lowest, we are all in this together. And that is why we all need one another. Now, somebody will say, well, I hear what you're saying today, but you see, this idea of empathy it's just that's not who I am. That's just not me. Well, it might not be you, but you know that like everything else in life, you can learn it. You can cultivate it. You can develop it. You can, even if you have it already, you can improve on it. Because whether you like it or not, whether you see it now or not, every leader will eventually be judged by how they react during this historic moment that we are going through. Every person, every one of us, man, woman, boy, girl, big, small, wherever, will be remembered for how you handle people in this season. And maybe you are one of the people that already you have a high emotional intelligence ability and you relate to people. Maybe you still need to brush it up. Maybe you need to revisit your training, your learning, whatever it is, so that you can reach more people, so that you can affect and relate and help more people. Because leadership ultimately is about expertise and ability. So there is no point in you having the expertise but you don't have the ability. You will not be a good leader if you have the ability but you don't have the expertise. So there is room for all of us to grow. And empathy, as it is, the ability to see others, to see other people and see their perspective and understand from their position and understand their viewpoint and relate to them from their side of the table. It plays a huge role in how successful you are, not just as a leader, but in all of your dealings with other people. Until you are able to stand in their shoes and walk a mile in it. Until you are able to feel what they are feeling. Until you are able to comprehend the challenge that they are dealing with. And be able to relate to them at where they are. That's when you're a leader. That's when you're effective. And that's when you'll be successful. So going back to what I said earlier, maybe you are one of the people who say, that's not just me. Well, go and learn it. There are free courses everywhere now. You can learn this if you put your mind to it. Just like every other life skills. Listening is a skill. Communication is a skill. Etiquette are skills. Like every other skills, you can learn it. And as you practice it, as you do it, as you put your mind to it, as you repeat it on and on, you will start to perfect it along the way. Because as human beings, one of the things I have come to realize is that we actually survive and thrive when we collaborate, when we work together, than we do when you are self-focused and only me, myself, and I. When you carry other people along with you, when you have other people's interests on your mind, when the feelings of other people, when it touches you and it affects you, it is priceless. Just to be able to put your put your hand on somebody's shoulder, just give them a little squeeze and say, it's all right, Jim, I understand. I know what you're going through. I relate to where you are. I can see you for who you are. A survey was done among millennials, and 71% of them, they want their co-workers to be like their second family. They want to be able to relate to people they work with almost as close as they do with the people that are in their immediate family. And 75% of them believe that even their employers should not just focus on the bottom line, but should concern themselves with mentoring and nurturing the innate talents that they have, so that they too can rise up and become leaders as well. But all of that starts with you and I thinking about others, reaching out to others, helping others, being there for others. Be the person that your friend, if it comes to the just one phone call they have, they will call you. because they know you will be there for them. They know you will stand with them. They know you will believe in them. They know you will not judge or condemn them. Is that you today? Is that you right now? Or do you have anybody in your life and in your circle of contact that can be that person to you? Empathy. It plays a big role in a leader's life in creating a thriving environment. It helps you when it comes to bringing people to do something, because do you know that people will do things for you not primarily because of your position, but because of the connections they have with you? Some people will walk through the wall for you, not because you're going to pay them anything, not because you can punish them with anything, not because there's anything, as it were, physically or tangibly, that they can gain from it or get from you. But they will do that. They will walk on coal or fire for you because of the relationship, because of the connection, because of the impact, because of the touch that your life has had on them. So as a person, as a man, as a woman, as a co-worker, as a supervisor, as a leader, as a husband, as a wife, as a brother, sister, whatever it is, the title is, we all have what it takes. And if you don't have what it takes to be, if you don't have empathy, you can learn it. There are things you can do even today, right now, that would start to build that ability in you. And so when you start to touch people, when you start to relate and affect and impact people, suddenly there's a new side of you. Suddenly there's a new you that you too you look in the mirror and you ask, who are you? But it's just because you've developed your potent ability to empathize, to feel what others are feeling, to be there with them, to hold their hands. I was watching a few days ago the funeral of George Floyd in the U.S., and I was listening to Reverend Al, and he said he deliberately invited other parents that had suffered the same thing that George's family just suffered, the death, the murder of their son by police. He invited those other parents to be there so that they can hold the hands of George's parents and his family and tell them, we're here with you. We know what you are feeling. We hear your cry. We can see the tears that you're not shedding outside but on the inside, because we've been there too. Is there anything or anyone in your life and in my life today who can say that? Is there anybody that you can say that about in your circle of contacts? Because we all need this. So, if you don't have it, or you have it, you don't know it, or you have it, you have not developed it, let's go through a few points just to highlight what you and I can do to enhance this quality of empathy, so that you can make the lives of people around you better and your own life meaningful, because you are able to contribute to other people's lives. The first thing you must learn to do to develop or to cultivate empathy is you must learn to practice the present. practice the presence. Practice being here and now. Learn to just be here now and available. Learn the act of being here now, available, reachable, touchable. But you see, you can only do that if you don't live a life that is constantly scattered and preoccupied. Because if that is the type of lifestyle you live, where you are constantly scattered and everywhere and preoccupied with this and that, you will have no capacity left to consider other people's perspective. In fact, you will not be able to think clearly, talk less of seeing or reasoning or being being sympathetic to what other people are going through. You must learn to hold yourself and say, no, we're here and now. Because if not, all you will have is being caught up in your own stuff. And when people ask you about it, when people query it, when people challenge it, you are the first thing you do is to go into a defensive and reactive mode. Because you know that you can be better than that. You know that you can be useful. You can help others, but you know you are not doing it. So naturally, when somebody brings it to you, the first thing that goes up is your defensive wall. And then you become reactive. But those two elements are the opposite of somebody who has empathy. No, I'm not saying you become a doormat and everybody walk all over you. No. But I'm saying it's a natural thing for human beings to just want to be there for others, to help others, to relate to others, to affect and be affected by others. And one of the things you can do to learn that is to practice, even if it's for 5 minutes every day, practice any aspect of mindfulness where you stop yourself in the track and you concentrate on that singular moment, singular issue, singular person per time. Nothing else matters. Just you and that person. Just you and that instant. Just you and that moment. And as you practice that, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes every day, before you know it, it will become part of you. And you start to see the result of it in how you view issues, in how you see matters, in how you handle conflict, in how you relate to others, in how you perceive other people's intention towards you. Your perspective of others will start to evolve and develop, and before you know it, your bowel of compassion will start to be opened, and people will say, you've changed. Oh, something is different about you. You've changed. Even you yourself will know. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, mindfulness per time. And let me give you some examples of mindfulness you can do. You can just, one of the things I do is when I wake up in the morning and set off from the bed, I don't just roll out of the bed, just get up and go. No. I roll out and I sit. I sit down for about, 2-3 minutes. Just to tell myself, this is a new day, a new opportunity, a new grace, a new dispensation, a new challenge. And just to psychologically and emotionally prepare myself for the day. I just sit there. Not just roll off the bed and jump up and start running. No. I get up, open my eyes, get my thoughts together, I roll out of the bed, then I sit down and just sit still. You can sit in silence. And one of the things that many of us don't do, which I think it's so disservice to ourselves, is that we don't talk, we don't communicate with our minds. We let other things take control of our minds. We don't relate. Our minds don't know who we are. One of the things you can do is to sit silently, just sit down and just be mindful of where your mind goes. Just you do it. Wake up tomorrow morning and just be silent for 2 minutes and then be careful, be mindful. Don't get into the battle of do this, don't do. No. Let your mind just be free for that 2-3 minutes and then take note of where your mind goes. Be mindful of what your mind latches to and attaches itself to. Because what that will do for you is it now gives you the opportunity to bring your mind back in line or to run with your mind depending on the direction that your mind is choosing to go. Somebody said the beauty of having a mind is that you can control it, you can change it, you can talk to it. But many of us don't do that. So sit silently and just let your mind wander. And then be cognizant of where your mind is going. If it is not in line with your purpose, then bring your mind back in line. Learn to be aware of the fact that you are breathing. I know because it's a natural thing, we don't pay attention to it. But one of the ways to take hold of yourself and take hold of your mind and take hold of your emotion and everything about you is to pay attention to your breathing. Just deliberately listen with your inner ears to your breathing. When you do some of these things, you will create an environment that will allow singular concentration and purposefully and respectful focus to come into your life. And in the process of that, your mind will begin to see other things that are outside of your very, very focus, because it is natural for you and I to be me, myself, and I. But when you allow your mind, now your mind can see other things that are on your blind spots and bring them. And some of those things are the other people that are in your life that you haven't paid attention to. Another thing you can do to develop and grow empathy is to be deliberately become more personable and more accessible. Deliberately become more personable. Attune yourself, make yourself available, accessible, and relatable by the people around you. But in order to do that, you have to start by, first of all, getting in touch with your own emotions, with your own feelings. Establish where you are, and then grow that out to others. Take the time. Yes, we're all busy doing nothing, running everywhere, going nowhere. But take the time to recognize and express your emotions, as well as the people around you. Help them to realize that whatever they're going through, whatever they're dealing with, whatever is challenging them, whatever is keeping their heart pumping, one, it's not peculiar to them. Two, they're not on their own. I'm here for you. Be accessible. Be approachable. Be personable. Don't go about with your face pulled and squeezed together as if you're sucking on lemon, that people see you from afar and say, oh no, not that one. Now, I'm not saying you go about being a clown and all of that, but your personal disposition, the way you carry yourself, the way you present yourself, the way you open your body will make people know that, yes, I can approach that person. Have you ever been maybe at in a town or a city where you are a stranger, a total stranger, and you need to ask somebody for direction? 8 times out of 10, you don't ask the first person you see. The question is the person that you eventually approach to ask, why did you approach that person? Even though that person wasn't the first person you saw. The reason you approach that person, the reason you choose that person is because there's a disposition about them that says, I'm accessible, I'm reachable, you can talk to me. It's empathy. Another thing you can do is, another thing you can do to develop this empathy is learn to listen and respond honestly and optimistically. Learn to listen. See, listening is an art. Listening is a doing. There's a difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is because your eardrums are functioning, but listening is a decision that you make to pay attention to not just what is being said, but to the person saying it as well, with the intention of doing something about what you're hearing. So the only way people will be vulnerable and make themselves open to you is if they know that they can have your audience. And they know that once they have said what they have to say, the response from you is going to be reasonable, it's going to be honest, and it's going to be helpful. Yes, it's not every time that people come to you that they will hear what they want to hear, because in most cases people want you to confirm what they're already thinking or what they're planning and all of that. No, but be yourself. Be authentic. Be real. Be honest. Not just with yourself, but with others. Yes, they may not like your view. They may not agree with your opinion. They may completely disagree with what you're saying. But at least they know where you are. Imagine as a leader in this season, and one of your team should come to you and say, look, sir, I just want to, I don't know who else to talk to. Well, things are really rough. I mean, we're going through a very rough patch right now, this and that and that. And you listen. You give that person your full attention. Imagine how that person will feel if after they've said everything they wanted to say, and you just reach across the table, hold their hand, and said, look, John, let me tell you, we're in this together. I'm dealing with the same issue. I have the same plate of this issue right in front of me. But one thing I know, if you and I will just hold together and just be there for one another, we will come through. Imagine how that will make John feel. Because now John knows there is no shame in what he's dealing with. Number two, John knows that what he is handling, he's not by all it's not just peculiar to him. You are dealing with the same thing. But more than that, you're standing shoulder to shoulder with him. Even when he wants to give up, even when he feels tired, even when he feels there is no hope here, the thought of you are also standing with him is enough to keep him going. Listen. Respond honestly. Be accessible to people. Make yourself available. Now, at the same time, don't turn it into a pity party. Oh, woe unto me. Oh, no. There's a place for that, but you can't make a bed and lie there and just wallow in self-pity forever. No. All that will do is it will just generate some negative emotions, and the only thing you're going to get is going down. No. Be honest in your conversation. And then together, fashion out the way out. And you will see the person turn around. Another thing you can do is to become an emotion-seeking detective. Be on the lookout. Many people will not come to you to say, oh, this is what is happening. No. Some people, you just need to watch them from afar, and you just know something is not adding up. Something is not working. Something is not right with this person. Imagine you just walk up to them and say, hey, can we grab a coffee later together? And you sit down and you say, what's going on? Talk to me. No, everything is fine. No. I know you. I see you. What's on your mind? What's keeping you up at night? What is this burden that is bowing over your shoulder? What is it, this thing that you are struggling under? I may not have all the answers, but a problem shared is half solved. What's going on? Now, they will be surprised. They will be surprised that you've seen them, that you can see them. But what that does is, it's an invitation to say to them, it's fine, let's talk. Let's talk man to man, woman to woman. Let's talk as brothers and sisters. Forget about the job and the title and the whatever. Let us talk with one another. Because what you are communicating to them is, I'm not just interested in you because of the work you do. I'm not just interested in you finishing the production or in you increasing the sales figure. No, I'm interested in you as a person. One of the things that has become part of me, and it's become a default for me, not because I don't even think about it. It has become part of me. It's when I see you, when I greet you, hello, how are you? The next thing you're going to hear from me is, hey, how's the family? Now, that is not something everybody will do. Because people think, oh, the family is private, is separate from the work. But if there are issues in the family, you will not be able to give 100% at work. If there are issues in the family, your mind will be divided. Now, I may not be able to solve the family problem. I may not even know anything that can be done about it. But the mere fact, and I've heard this from people over and over again, the mere fact that you see them beyond who is standing, you see them, this person is part of a bigger community, and you are interested in that bigger community. When you get to know your members, your people or your friends, when you get to know them at such deeper level, they will do anything for you. But more than that, it will help you to identify when they are not pulling their weight, when they're not giving their best, when there's something not adding up with their level of production. Because you'll be able to say, that's not you. No. That's what is going on. What is happening here? Excuse me. When you see somebody struggling, because you have their interests at heart, you can see it. You can intervene. You can even prepare some things, some solutions, some corrections, some help before you approach them. Or put it where they can see it. And they're like, wow, there must be an angel in this place. No, it is because you have empathy. It's because you have made yourself a detective to seek. Not because you are nosy, but you know when things are not adding up with your team. Show your humanity. Show your humanity with a heavy dose of empathy. Because empathy will not only motivate the people around you through crisis, but it will help even you to deal with what you're going through. Do you know that in counseling, when you are counseling somebody, some of the answers, some of the advice, some of the counsel you give them, they come to you without you preparing them. And in the process, you are learning. Some of what you are saying, some of what you are recommending for others, you are teaching yourself, you are training yourself, you are helping yourself to find an answer to the issues in your own private life. Develop empathy as a leader, and your team, your people, your group, your colleagues, your subordinates, even your superior, they will love you for it. Listen more, talk less. Listen more, talk less. Somebody said that's why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use more of this and less of this. Empathy requires you to not just be an active listener, but to talk even less. Have you ever spoken to people? Have you ever met people? Have you ever been in the presence of somebody that you're trying to tell or to share an issue with, and they talk more than you, to the point that you just thought, okay, I'll just listen because you're not prepared to hear what I want to say. Listen more. Talk less. In most cases, people are actually not asking you to find a solution to their problems. They're not asking you to solve the problem. They just want you to listen. They just want to get it off their chest and let that weight, that heaviness off their shoulders. So instead of saying, okay, right, I know what you're talking about. I know where you're going. Now, let me tell you what you should do. No, you don't. Because no two cases are exactly the same. Listen more. Talk less. You have to restrain yourself. You have to restrain yourself to listen. Even when there's the urge to say something, no, hold it back. Hold it back, because you can jump the gun and lead the conversation down a different route to what the person wants to say. When you talk too much, you bulldoze others, and it shows that you don't care. It shows that you don't care about what they want to say, what they have to say, what they need to say. You just want them to hear what you have to say. When you talk less and you listen more, you are sending a message to the other person that their opinion matters, their views is worth listening to. You want to be to show empathy, be curious. What's going on here? Ask yourself questions. When people come to share ideas with you, just because you are the boss or the manager, the supervisor, doesn't mean you are the fountain of knowledge. Take it further. Give others the opportunity to add, to contribute, to share, to say what is on their mind. You may not agree with them. You don't even have to agree with them. But at least give them the audience, give them the opportunity, allow them to share. Bible said, in the multitude of counsel there is safety. And when somebody brings up an idea or a solution or a point which you don't agree with, instead of saying, oh, that's so, which kind of a talk is that? That's just so way out of it. That's just so petty. That's just so childish. Instead of talking them down, just hold yourself. And while you are holding yourself, ask yourself some questions. Why do this person feel this thing will work? This idea. What makes them think it will work? Okay, even if you go with this person's idea, what are some of the challenges that I can see from where I am? Maybe they don't see it. And even if they see it, but I can already see some of the hurdles and obstacles that I'm going to have to deal with. But more than that, irrespective of how stupid, how foolish, how irrelevant, how way out of line their viewpoint is, if you pay attention, there is always something to gain. Even a fool can teach you something. If nothing else, it will teach you this is not how to do this. Pay attention. Oh, as I close tonight, there are times, however, when you have to be decisive, when you have to be swift, when you have to be firm, when you have to ultimately make the decision. Because at the end of the day, if you are the leader, the buck stops at your desk. While you must accommodate other people's views and ideas, you must recognize the fact that at the end of the day, it's your neck on the chalkboard. The buck stops with you. So there'll be times when you have to be decisive, when you have to be swift, when you have to be firm, when you have to, as it were, put your foot down. Because if you subject everything to general consensus and democratic votes and all of that, your followers will just think you're just a leader by name. You're not functioning. Because the reason you are called a leader is because you are leading. There's a place for you to be open to other people's contribution and advice and ideas. But that should not negate the fact that at the end of the day, the final decision lies with you. Listen more. Talk less. Pay attention. Be open. Be approachable. These are some of the things that right now, that's the type of leaders we're all looking for. Because we are all in this together. And we don't know where we're going. We don't know how we're going to get there. And so we need leaders who don't think there's something wrong with us for having these questions, for even thinking like this. We don't need people who think, what's wrong with you? No, we need people that would say, I know something is wrong. I recognize that, but together, we can make this work. And as we do that in our individual lives, in our corporate lives, in our business lives, in our family lives, in our social lives, what we're saying is there's a better way to be. There's a better way to relate. There's a better way to interact. There's a better way to be a member of a community. And together, you and I will become better men and better women. Thank you. I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.